So here are two quadratic equations that we have to solve for x in order for it to equal 0, and each one of them uses a different method of factoring. So here's how you do it. The first one. So here we have x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Give me one. So this method of factoring is what I call the AC method, which is pretty the easiest method to factor, and it should always be your first thing that you have to try and do. And it's pretty easy. So first, in order to use it, a has to be 1, and that's it. That's all it needs to be required for. And after that, you use this. You have to look at this number here, this number, and you have to think of, okay, so what two numbers multiplied will give you this, but also add up to give you this number. So here we have a -5, here we have a 6. So what two numbers multiplied gives you 6, but when you add it up, it gives you -5. Well, you can't use your head here. If we use 3 and 2, we see that 3 and 2 equals 5, but 3 times 2 equals 6, so it has to be 3 and 2. Now, we have a negative here, it has to be -5, but this is a positive 6. Two positives make a negative, so it has to be -3 and -2. So here, now you can just do this. You see we have a -3, so we just drop it here. We have a -2, we just drop it here. And now it's a little bit easier to solve. So here we have x, we have to make this equal to 0. What number here will make this 0? 3. What number here will make this 0? 2. Yeah, done. That's probably the first thing you should always check before you factor. Just make sure that the a value is a 1. Alright. Number 2, and actually my favorite way of factoring, completing the square. X squared plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. This is also my favorite way of factoring. So two components has to be here in order to do completing the square. One, it has to be a has to be 1. 2, your b factor has to be a even number. And 3, before you do completing the square, do that method first, do the AC method first. After you see that it has been met, initiate completing the square. So here I'm going to do x squared plus 6x, and I'm going to take this 5, leave a little space there, and make that -5, bring it to the other side. Now, this is very important. You see this number right here? This is important. You have to do that number, which is going to be 6, divide that number by 2, and then square the number. You'll see why. So you do 6 divided by 2, which is 3. 3 squared is going to be 9. So here I'm going to add 9 here, and I'm also going to add 9 here. And here, we see that this is actually a perfect square trinomial. So basically, what you can do is that we can just take the number that's in here, 6 divided by 2, which is 3. I'm going to add 3 here, and now I'm going to square it, which is going to be equal to -5 plus 9. -5 plus 9 is going to be 4. And now we can just solve x like this. Now it's a little bit easier to solve for x. So here, I'm going to square both sides. Here, make sure you put your plus and minus. Like that. Whenever you square something on both sides, make sure you put plus and minus. So this and that will cancel. So we have x plus 3 is equal to plus and minus. Square root of 4 is 2. And here we can just subtract 3 on both sides. You have x is equal to -3 plus and minus 2. And now we can just solve this pretty easily. -3 plus a 2 is just going to be a -1. -3 minus a 2 is just going to be a -5. I have to do it in my head. But yeah, there you go. That's the answers. That's probably my favorite way to do it. But yeah, completing the square. Lastly, we have this one, and this is probably the most familiar one that you like. If all else fails, quadratic formula. So here we have a 2x squared plus 3x plus 7 is equal to 0. Quadratic formula can be used anytime, unless you have an x squared plus, like a x squared plus bx plus c, you can use quadratic formula. So if there's a number in front of here, you can use quadratic formula. But however, there is other ways that you can use these methods here if there is a number here, but that's too complicated. I'm not going to show that to you. You're going to get confused. So I'm going to show you this way. So, best way to think of it, if your a value isn't a 1, quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is x is equal to -b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac you divide that all over 2 times a. So keep in mind, this is a, this is b, this is c. So you just plug in these numbers into the formula. So we have x is equal to, we have negative, which is going to be b, which is going to be 3. I have to really do parentheses. Plus and minus the square root, b squared, which is going to be 3 squared, minus 4, which is going to be a, which is going to be 2, c, which is going to be 7, and over 2, and then a is going to be 2. Okay, now we can simplify. We have x is equal to, we have negative 3 here, plus and minus square root, 3 squared is going to be 9, 14, negative 4, okay, well I can't really do that in my head, can I? That's going to be 56, so we have 9 minus 56, 9 minus 56, so that's going to be 56 minus 9, it's going to be 47, so it's going to be a negative 47 over 2a, or 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Okay, so now we see that we have two equations. We have x is equal to either a negative 3 plus and minus the square root of 40, not plus minus, negative 3 plus the square root of negative 47 over 4, and also negative 3 minus square root negative 47 over 4. So to simplify even more, we have an x is equal to negative 3 and then plus, whenever you have a, okay, this might be not in your curriculum, but I'm going to do it anyway. If there's a negative in the square root and you have to solve for x, always put an I in front of it and then just keep 47, like just keep the number in there. So that'll be over 4, and then this is going to be negative 3 minus I, and then square root of 47 over 4. And there you go. And those are the 3 ways to solve a quadratic equation.